Welcome to the CTOX podcast. This is the place to be if you're a technology leader navigating the fractional CTO landscape. I'm Marisa Brassfield, joined by Lior Weinstein, the visionary behind CTOX.
Here, we cut through the noise to deliver actionable insights for CTOs at every stage, whether you're looking at your first five-figure client or actively building systems to scale.
That's right. You'll learn principles, not just tactics, to transform your technical expertise into a thriving fractional practice. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the CTOX podcast. AI is not about replacing people. It's about replacing the parts of work that follow a script. In today's episode, we're going to unpack a metaphor that Lior shared recently. AI agents are like drivers, not robots. They make decisions, respond to the unexpected, and navigate complexity, not just follow instructions. And that shift changes everything for how fractional CTOs lead. Lior, I am so excited. I love your frames on AI and what to use it for, and especially what not to use it for. So I'm super excited for today.
Thank you. It's going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah. So let's kick off. I mean, you made this comparison, AI agents as drivers versus traditional automation as robots. What does that mean?
So with agents, I shared this mental model in a conference last year, which is prevalent. This is something that's been around for 20 some years, where you can think of AI in three different ways. AI is an oracle, so all knowing. You ask for questions, it has access to knowledge, and it can retrieve it and give you in the right context the answer, whatever it is. Next one is AI as a genie. Ask for a wish, something specific, and it coordinate resources and get it done. Lastly is AI as an agent, which means it can accomplish a mission comprised of multiple objectives and multiple pieces of information and make discernment, make a decision of what to do when until the objective and the mission is complete, just like a human would. So the metaphor with drivers and cars, the context is the mission is the GPS. Let's get to the restaurant in downtown. And you're starting at home. The tool that the agent has is the car. And the car has a steering wheel, has tires, has turn signals, has lights, has gas, has brakes, has gears, and so on. And the agent is the driver. So the agent knows where it's going. It's going to finish its mission when it gets to the restaurant. And it knows that it has access to a map, which is another tool. And it has access to a camera, so it can look at the lights. And it has access to the various parts of the car to be able to puppet it, move the steering wheel, use the turn signals, and so on. And the agent is now going to start the drive from the home all the way to the restaurant, starting by following the map. But map, as we know, is not the terrain. So you get to a light, it's usually not on the map. So the agent needs to look at the camera and say, red, I need to stop. Or there's a car in front of me, I need to slow down. And then they turn left and it's like, whoops, construction, reorient. Still the same mission. I still need to get to the restaurant, still have the same tools, but the plan needs to change. So the opportunity right now in the world to design these agentic workflow, these agent workflows, where you can define missions and provide the agents tools and then give them the maps and the discernment is incredible. And it's changing, changing our organizational structures as we know it.
So exciting. So why is this different than the way that most people think about automation or robotic process automation, RPA?
Mhm. So with automations, you need to know. So in that analogy, if you need to know when you're going to turn left, right, and in what speed when you're going to turn right. But if something changes and you didn't account for it in the instruction, the automation fails. So imagine a driver going into a car and turning left in their construction, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." They shut off the car, and now the car is stuck on the street, doesn't move, waiting until further instructions. Is literally what happens with automation. So with automations, classic automations, you're trying to get all the edge cases, all the if thens. With agent, you don't need to program all the edge cases. If you know specific edge cases, that's great. You're going to basically get a predetermined result that's very polished and desirable, and high quality, and so on. But otherwise, the agent just has a tool. It's like, oh, I can go right. I can accelerate. I can change locations, right? I can notify. And so I can ask. all these things. So it has tools to accommodate for a new case, a new scenario that wasn't pre-programmed. With classic automation, that's not a thing. You basically try to program as much as you can until you get to an edge case, and the edge case breaks. Like, oh, I don't know what to do. More instruction needed from our programmer.
In driverless cars, we nerd out about this a lot. There's this paradox that it's like it might be better for a self-driving vehicle to sacrifice its own passengers rather than if doing that would save more lives overall. And I'm curious, like, what is judgment in the context of an AI agent, and what does discernment look like when an AI agent is in the driver's seat? How is that? How does that work?
I think this is one of the issues that we talk about in AI with a few ways. One, with alignment. So, is the AI is this thing that has power to make decisions and act because you give it tools so we can take actions? Is it aligned with you? Is it aligned with humans? Right. So, classic kind of again a genie example or like an AI in this. It's funny, maybe like kid stories are gonna just be AI instead of gins. But you ask for, uh, a hair clip, and it like ruined the city to get you the hair clip. It's like, whoa, I forgot to say, don't kill anybody, for me to get the hair clip. So alignment is like a very complicated issue. And judgment and discernment is a very complicated issue because even for normal ethics, which is hard for many humans, when you're in that same scenario, right? What are you trying to preserve? Are you trying to preserve your life? Is your frame of reference you? Is your frame of reference humanity? Is your frame of reference, something else, your city, town, state? Your frame of reference, good news story that's going to go viral, right? Because if the AI wants virality, maybe it's going to do the viral act and not even the quote unquote right act. So having a good ethical benchmark and understanding what are you operating towards, as in what is good, what is true is very difficult. I think one of the thing that's what's interesting, what's coming up in the world between public models and private models, and then all the companies that are creating those and installing, and your ability to kind of say, I want this model for my thing, for my car, for my robot, for my whatever it is, because it's aligned with me, because it's going to make the decisions as if I would make them. And it's right for me because I would have made the same decision as opposed to its right period for humanity, which is, by the way, I consider it a government risk. If the government comes in and starts to regulate these things and say, no, we're going to make a decision that how the AI is going to act in these edge cases because we don't trust you, and then giving enough force or giving enough, capability, you can have significantly adverse effects. Judgment and ethics is very interesting, very complicated. I do think the private and customized and personalized models are going to win. I hope they're going to win at the very least. And I hope, just like when we're talking about self driving cars with Waymo, they'll still be able to get all the good benefits of like networks and swarms of AI that can learn from each other, but then keep your values aligned with yourself. Because if my kid is driving a driverless car, and the decision is my kid or another else's kid, from my car's perspective, it's my kid. And if I was the dad on the other side, it would have been that car. And now the AI is like jousting like knights, right? And figuring out who to save, which is just like knights and kings. Every knight protects its king. So I think the AIs should protect theirs, whatever that is. As a general philosophy, I think your devices should be aligned with you. And I think you should not be an asshole at the same time. But from a life preservation perspective, I think it makes perfect sense to align with whatever you feel is right for you and your family, and your community, your city, your country, and so on and so forth. Uh, it's a fascinating area that is utterly unsolved. And by the time the robots kick in, which is not that far, we're single digits in years away. I hope there's going to be some good philosophical frameworks that are going to allow people to enjoy all the good benefits of this and be able to align humanity. I would say when I look at statistics for uh, the data that's coming up out of Waymo and Tesla on the accidents, of autonomous vehicles is like dramatically low
Remarkable.
per million rides, right? Per million miles, dramatically lower. Now, every one is, certainly like fatal ones is significant, but it's dramatically lower. So I think humanity as a whole is certainly going to benefit from it. And I guess the biggest advice I have for people when they think about these topics, compare it to a human and don't compare it to the ideal because humans are not ideal and humans are real and we're talking in a human world in human form. So kind of think, well, relative to a human and relative to an average human, and reminding everybody an average human has 100 IQ, that's the definition. What would they do? And would that be right against that? Because that's the decision you need to accommodate for when you're driving a highway. Have to assume that the average people around you are 100 IQ because that's the definition of 100. And you can't just assume, oh no, no, it's I'm smarter. The decision needs to be that because I'm smart. I'm like, no, that's unfair and not representative of humans. Um, use the smart people, use people with some more experience and some more thinking time on something to provide insights that otherwise you yourself, most people that drive cars don't know how to build cars. Make perfect sense. A few people that figured out how to build cars and then a few other people figured out how to manufacture cars at scale uh, did that so all of us can drive cars without knowing how to drive it. So I think that that dynamic of understanding who is the AI serving and who's the person that needs to make a decision of what's the best way for AI to serve is very tricky and nobody has the answer yet. And I hope people are, by the time it's going to be extremely prevalent, somebody would have figured out a good model that everybody can adopt.
Yeah, and that's why I get so excited about the philosophers and the ethicists and the writers getting into AI because they bring that non-technical perspective, but the humanistic perspective, and there is a meeting of the minds that needs to happen when it comes to alignment for sure. And yeah, I had to giggle when you were talking about the government and the regulation coming over. It's coming, and either way, there's
It's
four or
common.
five businesses that are shaping how this whole industry is, at least here in the US, and we'll see how it plays out. But man, what a time. So, all right, we use this driving metaphor. And where do you see this show up in real world business systems today, especially in some of these communication heavy roles?
Yeah. So if you think about us, like we live in the world of atoms, but we communicate the network through the world of bits. And AI is really, really good at moving bits around. It's really good at ingesting them. It's really good at outputting them. So reading tokens, outputting tokens. And if you think about a position, like we have a virtual companies, right? So our businesses are virtual. And so most of the positions, like right now, you and I are communicating over video, right? Like you're in California, I'm on the East Coast. So we're in opposite ends, thousands of miles away, and we're doing this in real time. And the bits are moving from the atoms, reflecting the mirrors from the atoms in our rooms through the camera on the other side. And now people are watching or listening to it somewhere in some other time. And because of that, because all of the inputs and all of the outputs for our communication are digital, you can easily argue it can be done by agents. Certainly economically be done by agents, right? Because agents have access to the pixels, they have access to the voice, they have access to the bits, and they can create scripts, they can now do voice, they can now do video. And all of this could be by agents and nobody would know. And surprise, surprise, it is not. And when you can recognize that the input and output of any position is all digital, it's automatically, it doesn't matter how good you think you are, it's automatically a candidate for agents. If it's 100% or not, good question, important question, probably one of the most disturbing and urgent questions that most businesses have right now for every single position. And I think that when I started doing AI talks, I was trying to advocate that it's not the end of work, it's the end of boring work. And the context was look at your workflow and figure out what you as a human don't want to do. Everybody has boring work, but everybody has boring. And go there. Like try to see if AI can facilitate that. And now, as it gets more prevalent and it can do more tasks because it has more tools and it's more intelligent and the hardware is better and it does it faster and higher quality and so on, really thinking through from an organizational perspective what positions should be AI supported and what positions should be just AI is very tricky. So we talk a lot about AI AI-ification, and understanding what level of autonomy can you give an agent. So the thing we're seeing right now, a lot of businesses are creating sophisticated agent automations as an upgrade to the RPA, to the robotic process automation. So they understand every morning I want to get a digest of all the emails in my inbox. So which is difficult in automation because in automation you don't know how many emails, which person, and so on. But with an agent, you can say, here's an email I care about, here's an email I don't care about, here's how I want the format, and I want it in a bullet point per email, and the agent can do it. So that's very common, and we see these kind of like uh, moving walkways that people are creating for different positions, right? So they can take a task that otherwise would have taken an hour or two, and they can compress it to 5 seconds, and they're building an agent around. And so we see that a lot. We also see, like in our case, like in our business, for example, we're looking at, well, what would it take to get, maybe a VA that looks at all the member interactions, all of their messages and emails, and gives us notices about their progress and if somebody needs help and so on. And we were looking at that, we're like, well, this can be an agent. Like before even trying to hire for the position, we ask, can an agent do it? Can an AI do it? And now we're investing resources and time, and we don't know at the end of this, right? So some of these agents are going to cost us like $500, and I'm sure some of them are going to cost us $30,000, but they're going to cost us $30,000 once, and then they're going to do a great job to our standards, 24/7. And then you and I get to do what we love doing. We love coaching. We don't love taking notes. We don't love homework.
No
We love
homework.
helping though. No homework. We love helping though. So if you and I can only just show up and coach, and we don't need to worry about is the store open? Did somebody turn on the lights? And is the water running? Did everybody pay the bills? Those kind of thing about it. I just want to meet customers. I don't want to clean. I don't want to open. I don't want to pay the bills. I just want to meet customers and have fun with them. So the most active execution of agents right now is really in that I found a task that is taking me an hour or two, and I found a way to an agent to do that end to end in seconds or minutes. And then new positions, we argue, can an AI do it? So I think the questions that people are asking, and they should be asking, if not before they hire, can an AI do it first, and actually put in the R&D time, put in the research and development time, because if it can, it's a much better solution. And then truly understanding for every position, what's the human part? And we talk a lot about artificial intimacy, right? How do you abuse AI? And you're losing from your personal touch and your relationship with people because you're creating this facade that's powered by AI. But it's not intimate, it's not authentic, and because of that, the relationship is not real. If the relationship is not real, they'll move on somewhere else. They have no reason to stay. We humans just tend to try to find people we like and we want to stay with them. Like if I like my plumber, that's my plumber until I die.
That's right. Yeah.
If I like my hairdresser, that's my hairdresser until they die. Whatever it is, like that's like I once I find my service providers and I find my partners, also my clients, I just want to stay in that. I just want to stay with the people that serve me, and I want to serve as many people as I can.
Yeah, man. As you're sharing, I remembered a conversation you and I had over a year ago at this point. And you were like, I want you to audit every single mouse click and keyboard stroke. And as a non technical human, that was fairly revolutionary. So I started looking and I started noticing how often I was copying files, renaming folders, and I started setting an hour time block once a week to just build a simple automation, just to dabble, build a simple automation. And agents were not where they are today as we sit here and record this. But even then, to have that kind of a low lift, 30 seconds to 2-minute tasks, but multiplied over the course several times a day, week, month, year. And to your point, it's not coaching. It's not being with people, helping them see a bigger vision, both of them, for
Mhm.
themselves, getting unstuck, witnessing their growth, helping them see things that they can't see. Like those are the things that we have the most fun doing. And the arguably that's what they pay for when they're inside the CTOX accelerator. It's not the tactics or strategies. You can get the courses anywhere. It's being witnessed and supported through a transformation.
Yeah, and I mean, wouldn't they wish that we had more time for them than time to clean up and do backstage work? So it's a big opportunity and really identifying it through the roles and how much digital action do you take? Because if you're taking digital action, an agent can probably do it. We don't know yet, but with every month that passes, that statement is sure and sure.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about artificial intimacy because this is a big one. It's so tempting to just, oh, look, there's an AI call center that I can build and deploy. And, not every kind of call is great to have with an AI.
Mhm.
What are some of the risks of treating AI agents like simple automations, expecting precision, but not building in judgment?
I think it's to add to judgment, there is a lot of people obsess about the how with AI. Like, can an AI
Yeah.
accomplish this thing? Can they look at it? Can they take a call? Can they write an email? Can they send me a message and so on? But they're losing a sense of aesthetic, right? Like, how do you execute on these things? So you take a call with what tone, right? It's like that meme, like you're not wrong, you're just an asshole,
Hmm.
right? Like there's a reason why you don't see a lot of call centers with people with Asperger's. Like, is there an Asperger LLC call center business that I missed somewhere? Now, it's not like they can't read the script. In fact, they can read the script better than anyone, and they can follow instructions better than anyone. But a lot of the interaction is about the relationship and trust that's built through the interaction. And our human ears and our discernment for do we trust something is so specific. It's so sensitive. Like if somebody, I don't, if your husband calls you, or if you call your husband, like, hey, honey, and he's like, hi, you're like, what's wrong?
Oh, yeah. We're
The
gonna need
fraction
you
of a
got some
second.
explaining. Yeah.
That's right. A fraction of a second. Like our discernment is crazy, crazy. Like our ability to tune into emotional anything is crazy. And that's also what pacifies us, like what makes us feel comfortable and comforted. So if we don't feel like this is a good communication and somebody's caring about me and I'm caring about him, trust goes down. If trust goes down, we're not going to have a relationship, not a personal relationship, not a professional relationship. And like I'm a CTO for different businesses in the anti-human trafficking space. I keep remembering to say anti-human trafficking,
Yeah,
not human trafficking.
exactly. Important distinction.
And that's right, put in a section. And with one of those came up this issue of a call center, AI call center for survivors to call in, or victims rather, to call in. And I'm like, nope, nobody, nope, we're not gonna do it. And they were also excited. I'm like, nope, nope, we will never do this. And because if somebody calls and they're asking for information, I saw a kid in class and I'm a teacher and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, 411, maybe. But if somebody's calling you at 2 a.m., distressed, looking for help, and the AI is like, "Can you just spell your name again in the right way?" I'm like, "Oh, I completely validate your emotion." Like, what? Like it's gonna be the just a microsecond of wrong movement, wrong judgment, wrong discernment that's gonna completely throw off the other side and put them in 10x more distress because they just raised the phone to ask for help, which nobody likes to do in any context, let alone when you're distressed. Same thing for, I was giving this talk a couple years ago to a few hundred personal injury lawyers. And that's probably one of the first things because one of their biggest challenges is that in the personal injury space, you don't know if a lead is worth 200 bucks or $20 million. And the only way to know that is to talk to them. And you pick up the phone and talk to them. And again, they were thinking about AI intake. And I'm like, can you imagine? I mean, I get the, oh, I fell at work and I'm thinking maybe my employer has some workman's comp, maybe we can do something. That's one conversation. But the other conversation of a wife just calling because her husband got hit by a truck, that's the call you want the AI to pick up. Like, are you
Oof.
willing to risk your business and your reputation for that single conversation, your entire reputation for that single conversation? Do you really want to show up in the world like that? So the technology is not there, and it gets. I'm the first guy to admit it gets better every single month, and it's incredible. But it's one of these things. It's like you can't have pilots that are 99% great. Okay, it needs to land 100% of the time. And there's some areas of human communication, human relationship, where it's 100% or nothing, or zero, 100% or zero. And I think there's a lot of areas. If you're calling to change a flight, fine, go for it. Nobody likes phone trees. This is a better experience than a phone tree. Okay. Not a lot at stakes. But if you're calling to change a flight because you're stuck at 3 a.m. with 4 kids in Africa and you don't know what to do, that's happened to me. Then human is a better customer experience than AI or a phone tree and so on. So being having the discernment on when it's relevant is very tricky. I think the default should be no for most things. I think if you look at it, different frameworks, like when I work with clients, we look at different frameworks like, is this a transactional conversation? Like, are people just trying to get information and then the other person is like spewing out information? And it's like mechanical. It's like about my account, my expiration, my balance, those kind of things. Great. AI can do a really great job. And it can also do a great job in like multiple languages, which is nice because a lot of businesses can't service multiple languages because they can't afford to pay multiple, language speakers. It can do 24/7, which is nice because then the customer doesn't need to wait to 8 a.m. for the call center to open. And if it's past 8 p.m. Pacific, they're out of luck. So like all these like cool values unlock, you know. But as soon as it's like a high stakes environment, don't do it.
Mm, so important. So, for those listening who are leading a team, building or integrating AI agents, what skills or frameworks do you think they need to prioritize now?
By and large, most of the like really great transformation work that I'm seeing is predicated on really thorough analysis of the activities. Really like scrutinizing it, like as if you had to train, like companies that have great training material, like you go in and they have like perfect training, like day one on the job, here's the skills, here's what you do, here's how you're successful for every single activity of their job, they're winners. Like if they manage to break down the task to atomic units of what information passes, when, what do you do with it, what is the judgment, what is the discernment, where does it go, how does it go there, what format does it go there, when does it go there. Companies that manage to create that level of training, they're huge winners in this AI transformation space. And companies that don't, that's really the process. They need to look at their organization, look at the different uh, positions and within each activity and understand what are the inputs. So, how does this position get information? What are the outputs? What is that position producing? And then what does it do to do that production? And if they can nail that down, they can start by immediately helping. So, take those 2 hours suddenly to like a minute. They can, and in many cases, by the way, we notice it doesn't actually save gross time, so it's still a 40-hour work week, but instead, because there's like tasks that get you hand off, right? So maybe you did it in 2 hours, in 5 minutes instead of 2 hours, but now it's someone else, and they have their own queue, right, before they can take on the task and do something. So it might not necessarily change a 40-hour work week, but it's going to increase the capacity quite substantially. So the biggest opportunities right now for organizations is to grow without hiring, as opposed to grow with firing. I think the biggest opportunity is to grow without hiring. And you do that with assistive tools. So take a portion of the actions of the activities and accelerate them, make it better, faster, smarter. And then for some areas, just complete replacements where it makes sense. Like we just had this with one of my companies where we had two customer service people and it's a small company. And I was telling the head of customer service, she's been there for 12, 13 years. I'm like, hey, this tool looks relevant. Try it out. Tell me if it's good. And if it's good, the reality is we're not going to need the other guy. You're never going to lose your job. You've been with me for a decade and a half. But check it out. And sure enough, a few weeks and that tool is now like $200 a month and it's doing a great job. So she asked me today, what are we going to do with, the other guy? And I'm like, I'll find something else for him. He's a good guy, knows how to do a good job and working for us for like 5 years. I'll find something else for him, but it's not going to be this. It's going to be something else. And I think that scenario I just described is going to be one of the more common scenarios executives are going to need to handle and tackle. And employees are going to need to be a part of that relationship and part of that discussion in the next, 5 and 10 years.
Mm, really important. What are what are your final thoughts, Lior, on why AI judgment versus speed is the real opportunity here?
I think if you think about, we talk about leadership in another episode where the difference between leaders and managers is creating capabilities versus managing existing capabilities. And in a world where management can happen by AI, or rather oversight can happen by AI, and a lot of labor, a lot of production can also happen by AI, then what's really left is imagination and orchestration, and kind of saying, well, once I create the machine is created, and now the machine is working, but now there's something new happening in the world. New kind of interaction, new kind of customer, new kind of value, new kind of offer. And now the human piece comes in and says, oh, I have an idea. I'm going to design the solution. And being able for you to introspect and understand what makes you discern in the way you discern in your profession, right? If it's for me, maybe it's technology and growth. And for other people, it could be financial, it could be physics, could be whatever it is. And understanding that what is the thing that you love discerning on and you're very good at? And then what are the activities that need discernment and judgment on a daily basis? If you build the machines right, a lot of those decisions can that are simple for you and, to be honest, annoying for you, can be done by AI. And then you're left with the new capabilities, which I love because it means that my job might be you get to only grow. When I show up every week, my job is to create new capabilities and no longer to watch out for the machines I already designed.
What a world. What an exciting time to be alive,
Excited.
to be in business, to be in technology. There's so much change. And I always appreciate your wisdom to help keep us on the forefront of change.
Yeah, thank you. I We can touch on it maybe in a future episode around the opportunity for individuals,
I'd love to
you
do
know,
that.
opportunity for MIT just, so as we're recording this, MIT just released this thing. Forgot what they call it. It was like visual detection acquisition. It's basically a system that allows anyone to mock their physical actions. Like if you know how to do something with your hand, like spin a basketball, right? It can record those and then put it into robots. So you can actually sell and license your physical skills, like something you figured out. Maybe it's bubblegum balloons, whatever that is. And I read that this morning and I'm like, man, that's so interesting. Like people get it. And then I'm thinking to myself, how much physical skills do I really have?
I was just
But
thinking that too. I'm like,
yeah,
well,
yeah. I'm like, man, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of dancing. And but thinking about that thing where we can make somebody can humans can figure something out and then make it available to all the other humans. And then on the other side, somebody can now enjoy the benefit of something you figured out for effectively no cost, which so far to do that, it's very expensive. It's very expensive for you to right now to have access to stuff that Lior figured out. Uh, the way we make it cheap is stuff like this, share our intellectual thoughts on a podcast. And if you can afford a phone and if you can afford a computer, you can access the information. But now that that's escalating to like all kinds of things and software and physical capabilities, wow, what a world. What a time to be alive.
I just want a robot that can do the dishes, put them away, do my laundry, fold it up. Uh,
Dan Sullivan, I guess last comment on that. Dan Sullivan, I remember one of the first time I met him, this was six, some years ago. He said that uh, he's had autonomous driving for years because he has a driver.
the Four Seasons rule.
Yeah, he has, you know, he's been benefiting for no drivers for years. And but that's economy, right? I mean, you can pay somebody to clean your dishes and soon enough, and now it's cheaper than ever. Our lives are better than most kings of 500 years ago.
Yeah.
And now that's the next revolution. Now everybody can have somebody that washes the dishes. Like the dishwasher came, but somebody needs to load the dishwasher. I guess forgot about that piece. But we're getting
It's
there. We're
coming
getting
though,
there, and
yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's absolutely
The
amazing.
state of home robots and more on that every month, seemingly.
Mm.
Yeah. So I love the idea of an episode on the individual capabilities and what's possible. Consider it done. And I'm looking forward to our next conversation. Thank you as always.
Thank you.
That wraps up another episode of the CTOX podcast. We hope today's conversation gave you the tools and inspiration to advance your journey as a fractional CTO.
And don't forget, if you want more in-depth support or to connect with our community of fellow fractional CTOs, visit us at ctox.com.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the CTOX podcast.